All right, so here I am on site with all of my gear here, and it kind of made me realize something. I'm here shooting with thousands of dollars of equipment, but with modern technology, do you even need this? Is all of this required? Do I really have to spend $2,500 on my main shooting rig? And that kind of got me thinking. What if I actually bought an older, cheap camera? Something with a good sensor, something that still has a wide angle lens, something that's definitely still usable in the field and preferably has HDR bracketing built in, but isn't brand new and doesn't cost a fortune. As a matter of fact, what if it costs less than 500 bucks? What if it costs less than 400 bucks? Good, because 350 bucks, that's my budget for this shoot. Or that's my budget for this project. Let's see if we can do it. Let's actually look at the real options here, because if we're gonna do this on a $350 budget, well, I can't just pick any camera, right? I kind of have to pick the right camera. So whatever I spend here directly affects how good the final images can be. The first one we're gonna talk about right here, the Canon T2i, 18 megapixels, APS-C sensor, shoots RAW, has auto exposure bracketing, super important thing. Now, the dynamic range here, it's not amazing for today's standards, but it is usable, especially considering we're doing bracketing. And most importantly, as you can see, this thing is cheap. So it leaves lots of room in the budget for a better lens. Option 2, Canon EOS A7iv. Second option, it's technically better, 20 megapixels, newer sensor, better dynamic range, way better autofocus, not that we use that in real estate, and a nice flippy screen. On paper, obviously, this is a much better camera, but if we're doing anything else, I'd pick this immediately. But here's the real trade-off. This camera costs significantly more, about $100 more than the last one I looked at. And once I allocate the money here, that means I'm starting to lose options on the lens side. And for me, that's a problem because typically the lens is what makes the shot. So, final decision here, I'm going with the Canon EOS Rebel T2i. Not because it's the best camera here, but because it gives me the most flexibility where it actually matters, and that's the lens. Because in real estate photography, the lens is doing most of the hard work, and if it's not wide enough, well, your images won't land with those agents. Now let's get on to the lenses. So I'm looking for three things here. It has to be wide enough for interiors, it has to be sharp enough with as little distortion as possible to hold up in editing, but realistically, more than anything else, it has to fit the budget and match the price. So let's get on to this. All right, option 1, Canon EFS 10-22 f3.5 4.5. First option is the 10-22. This is probably the most recommended budget real estate lens out there. And on paper, it makes sense. It's cheap, it's widely available, but once you factor in that crop, that 10 mil on Canon's APS-C turns into about a 16 millimeter equivalent. And that's where I personally start having problems because 16 millimeter, well, it works, but it's tight, especially in smaller rooms, bathrooms, half baths, anything like that. You feel that limitation immediately. All right, let's go with option 2, the Sigma 8-16 f4.5 to 5.6. That's what I found, this Sigma, and this is where things change a little bit because on 8 mil on an APS-C, Canon's APS-C, you're sitting around a 12 to 13 mil equivalent, which is finally in that range where real estate actually feels right in the images. Rooms open up, spaces feel more natural, you're not fighting the lens anymore, and you're no longer restricted by how narrow it is. Now, I'm not going to recommend you always shoot as wide open as 12 to 13. Realistically, about 13 to 14 is where I shoot the majority of my stuff on my Sony. So I think that's an acceptable range. So for this video, the lens I'm going with is this Sigma 8-16. I think it'll fit perfectly, not because it's a perfect lens, but because it's the only one here that actually gets me wide enough to do the job properly on this tight budget. Now, let's go see if any of this actually works as a starter kit for real estate imagery. All right, y'all, it came in, MVP. Check out the tape. Let's see it. I'm gonna unwrap it right now for you. Right here in the box, Sigma 8-16. Try that out. In here, a generic box. And that's what we got inside of the box. Let's check out the camera side first. All right, cable, this looks like charger, strap, charger to go with that cord. And here we are, boom, there we go. This is what we're gonna be rocking and rolling with. Now keep in mind, we are at 350/14 right now. And luckily, I just happen to have an old SD card laying around, so we're gonna use that and not included anything. Look, this is nice. This comes all like a brand new lens over here. Look at this guy. It does have the lens hood, it has everything. We now have, theoretically, our real estate beast, quote unquote. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spend some time getting used to this camera and put an adapter on the bottom so I can use it with my tripod, and then I'll give you some behind the scenes footage while I guess I review this thing, or something like that. All right, I just tested it all downstairs. Now I'm gonna go to the movie room because that's like the darkest space in the house. So I feel like this will be one of the best tests we could probably have, honestly. So there you are. All right, y'all, so one thing I have definitely noticed here is that using this old antiquated system, well, it's an old antiquated system. There's a lot of little workarounds, a lot of little finicky things, but overall, I mean, let's just go ahead and press this button, wait for this timer, and we'll listen together. Here we go, boom. This old system, you know, it's got some quirks, but I'm very excited to see what these images look like because I thought it only had a 3-shot bracket, but it has a 6-shot bracket. So I'm gonna be comparing that to my Sony's 7-shot bracket. Let's go. So first thing I should say is that Fotello is the sponsor of this video and the software I'll be processing all of these images through. I reached out to Harmon with this idea about 2.5, 3 months ago, I guess, and he thought it was cool enough to get behind. So I just want to say thank you to Harmon and Fotello for providing me the chance to prove a point I've been spouting on my channel for years. All right, now let's talk about what are the obvious differences between using something this old and something that new. First of all, it has a mirror. You can hear that guy slapping around and it's loud. Now, the second thing is that bracketing options, they're far more limited here. I've tried my hardest and it seems that this old of a camera, 3-bracket shot is the largest you got. But you can give 2 stops in between each of those brackets, so it's actually a pretty wide bracket range. Biggest downfall, honestly, from my experience using this camera over the past week, is this fixed LCD screen on the back. There's something to be said about splurging a little bit extra to get a screen that you can at least tilt up while looking down for these shots. Honestly, it's pretty much the only downfall. File sizes are smaller, so they upload quicker. The camera operations on the site was basically the same. I haven't purchased one yet, but I know for a fact I can get a polarizer for this cheap Sigma lens, way cheaper than the one I had to buy for my big Sony lens. Overall, one camera cost me $350. Oh, and I forgot to mention earlier that it actually did have an SD card in it, so I didn't have to buy one of those either. And the other camera, well, it's sitting right under $5,000. That's a huge price discrepancy when you're first starting out, especially for images that look nearly identical after running them through Fotello. Now, if you've been around this channel for a while, you already know. What's the deal, everyone? Welcome back to the studio. I'm Jeremy Deal, and I talk about how to run a thriving real estate visuals marketing company in today's modern environment. And that usually today means using AI. If you're not into that sort of thing, sorry. It's allowed me to expand my company exponentially in ways I never could have before. So if you're interested in that type of growth for your company, make sure to press all those viable YouTube buttons located down below this here video. And that being said, if you've been here for a while, you already know how much I talk about Fotello, how incredible I think their product is, and how it's changed my company. But this test right here literally took the cake. I've been saying for a long time, it's not about the price of your gear, it's about the quality of your service. And this test wraps that up pretty perfectly. Now, for this test, both cameras have been running on a 3-bracket exposure with a 2-stop difference between those frames.
Typically, when doing a 3-shot exposure, I overexpose by like 0.03, but these are all, well, they're done dead balls accurate because I wasn't trying to produce the best product. I was trying to shoot the exact same way. I know Carl's been throwing up these images the entire video, but be real with yourself. Can you even notice the difference? Like, look at these two on screen right now. The one on the left, taken with the Sony A7 IV, cost roughly $5,000 to get started with. Image on the right, taken with a Canon T2i, released in 2010 with a super cheap aftermarket lens, total cost of $350. I'm leaving these up on screen so you can really pixel peep while I'm talking about them. Got them? Got a good view of them? Notice the things about one you like? Well, guess what? Those are actually switched. The image on the right took $5,000 worth of gear to produce, and the image on the left took $350 worth of gear to produce. Bet a lot of you gas heads out there were instantly convinced the Sony one was better. There's probably a bunch of Sony loyalists out there who probably just convinced themselves of the same thing. All along, you've been looking at Canon images from 2010. It just goes to prove over and over again, the price of the gear you use is irrelevant. Luckily for you, in today's age, we have programs like Photello that can take a set of images from what's considered an ancient and irrelevant camera and turn them into perfect marketing materials for the modern age. If you're interested in any of the gear and software I use to run my real estate media visuals empire, including a link to the largest discount Photello offers, well, check out the links in the description down below. I also have a members program here on YouTube that will give you some behind the scenes access and early access to all of my videos before they drop publicly. Thank you all for watching. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you and your comments, so please make sure to drop some down below. Let me know what you thought of this test. Let me know if it blew your mind as much as it did mine. I'm Jeremy Deal with Pitch Your Property, and I will catch you next time. Also, if you are someone you know is a marketing specialist for the real estate industry, I'm looking to hire one, so send them my way. Also, let me know if you have any questions. You know, ones I didn't cover about this setup in the test, and hopefully I ran them all right. All right, peace.